All right, everyone, welcome to section 3, finding your home. The idea of this, or what I kind of want to do in this video, is kind of go over some tips and tricks on when you start really getting serious about looking for a home, how we can kind of use certain platforms and what to look out for, and just some tips and tricks on looking at homes online just to help you figure out what the heck you actually want, right? And you see a lot of stuff online and on Zillow and Trulia and Redfin and all these sites, and it's important you're using sites that are actually accurate, right? And I'm not trying to say those are terrible sites. I love Zillow, I love Redfin for the preliminary research phase, meaning, hey, what are price points in neighborhoods? Where do I want to live? What kind of house can I get here? And when you start getting a little more serious, it's important to start using sites that syndicate directly with the MLS. You're getting the most accurate information possible. Those third-party sites aren't the most reliable. Now, you can obviously use them if you choose to. I'm not saying you can't, but what I am saying, if you do choose to use them, just make sure you're prepping yourself. I call them the Heartbreaker app. You will finally find something you like or that you love that's perfect. You send it to me and it's under contract, or it sold 6 months ago, right? So you just have to be mentally prepared for that. Now, the alternative is, if you're watching this, you most likely already have my website. We're sending you homes every single day or weekly or whatever. This site does syndicate and it is accurate. And so I would always prefer you use this site if you can, if you find it enjoyable to use. Now, obviously we can cater your search to whatever you're looking for, but it is going to be significantly more accurate than those other sites like the Zillows. So that's the first thing, right? So we can use the MLS, which we can hook you up with, or East Valley Home Hunt, which is going to be the most accurate when it comes to finding a home online. All right, so let's screen share this real quick and we can dive into what we're actually looking at. So this is the homepage of the website, obviously. I just want to kind of give you an example. Let's just pick a listing in Gilbert, just any area. Okay, so this one on Hampton. Let's look at this one. Okay, so a couple things to notice right off the bat. Now, when you're looking at homes, obviously depending on price point, what you're looking for, there's gonna be different features of this house. First thing that stands out to me is this lot size, 16,000 square foot lot. That is a very large lot. And when you're looking for a bigger lot, let's say, now this is a significantly above average lot, but if you're looking for a house on, let's just call it like your standard, 8,000, 9,000 square foot lot, and you're a single story like this is. So this is a 2,400 square foot home on a lot size of 16,000. When you're a single story, something just to take note of, the footprint of the house is going to be larger than if you were to go 2,400 square foot, 2-story. Footprint's gonna be smaller because you go vertical, right? So if lot size is super important to you and you don't really care about single story, 2-story, maybe 2-story is gonna be a better option to give yourself the bigger yard you're looking for, bigger backyard, bigger front yard, whatever it might be. But single story, bigger footprint. And so if you're just looking to have the nice yard because you got kids or you want to put in a pool or whatever it might be, just consider, hey, it's a single story, footprint's going to be a little larger. That's something that not a lot of people think about. And when you start looking at, especially if you start getting into the bigger single story homes on your average lot size, sometimes that yard, and especially if the home sits a little further back, so your front yard's going to be a little bigger, then your backyard might not be exactly what you're looking for. So it's important to just put that in the back of your brain as you're looking through if the backyard is something that's super, super important for you. Okay, next thing is something that escapes a lot of people is, where is the home located in the neighborhood? So if we see this, so for example, you're like, you see this listing, you're like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. This is everything I'm looking for. We only wanted 3 bedrooms because we wanted more square footage in the living area. We wanted the 3-bath because we wanted to have 1 full for us, 1 full for a guest, and 1 full for someone who might be staying with you, a grandparent or parents or friends, right? And they have their own bathroom. My gosh, this is the perfect house. Then you're like, hey, let's go see it. Before you look at that, make sure you look at where this is located in the neighborhood, meaning this is backing Higley Road, and Higley is a very busy street. Now, obviously, it depends on where at Higley, but Higley and Williamsfield, extremely busy area. So it's important to know, hey, where is this actually backing? Now, it's a corner lot, so this is definitely something that's going to be super questionable on how much road noise you get. But the big deterrent when buying a home on a major street is it affects the appraisal value of that house. So when you go to resell it, an appraiser is going to have a lot of wiggle room on what kind of adjustment to give for being up against a major street. It is one of those things where, when an appraisal is done on a house, what we want to try to do is strip away as much power from the appraiser as possible. because there's a lot of opinion that goes into an appraisal. You could have 5 different appraisals and get 5 different values, right? There's just a lot of opinion when it comes to an appraisal. And so something like backing up to a major road, giving him that power to say, this is going to be a $10,000 adjustment or a $30,000 adjustment. It's just something to take note of. I'm not saying don't buy a house on a major street. It's just something you should know when looking at a house that is on a corner. Now, I'm happy this was the very first house we picked because that's such a great example right there. Now, something else to take note of when buying in a neighborhood, something to look at the map on, is are you backing any commercial type of things, right? Are you backing a grocery store, a Walmart, a school, something of that nature? Not necessarily because it might affect your appraisal value depending on what it is, but more importantly, it could just affect your lifestyle, right? If you are someone that wants to, if you hang out in the backyard, if you're watching the games in the backyard all day on a Sunday, or you have people over frequently and you want to entertain, then hearing, big semis backing up all day might not be the most appealing thing to you. So looking at the map and looking at where the home actually sits in the neighborhood is super important. That not a lot of people care about. All people care about is they see the price, they see the specs of the house, and they look at the photos. But it's important to kind of look a little deeper, lot square footage, single story, 2-story, where it's located on the map. It's very, very important. Now, anytime you see a mortgage calculator on here, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying be a little cautious of it, right? Because I don't see anything about HOA. I don't see anything about taxes on here. So this payment might not be the most accurate. Not saying like it could be. I'm just saying be a little careful with it. Now, when you are looking at homes and you're ready to see one, the best thing to do is just say schedule a tour. Boom. You can either schedule a tour or you can save it. Once you save it, it then will get kicked to me and I will say, oh, this person likes this house. Now I can start looking with you, right? Meaning, okay, they like this part of Gilbert. They like this square footage. They like certain things about this house. Now I'm starting to understand what you're looking for. And now we can kind of look together. So be a little liberal with this save button. Save all the homes you like. And I'll reach out to you. Hey, what about the house on Hampton do you like? Oh, I like the flooring. I like the RV gate. I like the lot size, whatever it is. So now I can start getting a really good idea of what you're looking for and we can jump through this thing together and tackle it together. Also, kind of the obvious stuff, make sure you're checking the school districts, crime rates. Once you go under contract, you're going to get something called a buyer advisory. And in that buyer advisory, it'll have all the links and I cannot guide you on it legally. I can't guide you on it. So legally, I'm not allowed to say if a neighborhood is safe or not because it's relative, and that could be called steering. But you'll get something called a buyer advisory. And in that buyer advisory, it'll have all the links to check out everything you would need to know. Now, I can obviously send that to you before you go under contract. So if you want a copy of the buyer advisory so you could see, it has just a ton of information, sex offenders, crime rates, school zones, all these really important things that you should know about the house. It's obviously that's crucial that you figure that out before you actually pull the trigger and close on the house. Once you go under contract, we have to give you that. You have to sign it. Make sure you do your due diligence on all that. But those are kind of the big things. Square footage, because what happens is you're going to start seeing homes, and obviously the realtor's responsibility is to sell this house, and they make it more appealing than it actually is, right? So you see photos and you're like, this, I thought this room would be bigger, or I thought the backyard looked bigger, or whatever. But you can get indicators kind of what I mentioned before. So this is a 3-bed, 2,400 square foot house. So that means that instead of having a 4 or 5 bedroom, that square footage is going to be elsewhere in the house that could make, the living room look a little bigger, or the kitchen look a little bigger, or feel bigger. The dining room, whatever, that square footage that would normally go into those other 2 bedrooms are going to be in the main house. So if you have the same kind of house, 2,400 square feet, and it's a 5-bed, just know that main living area is going to feel smaller than the 2,400 with the 3-bed. So just as you're looking, keep those things in mind. It'll just help you figure out what you're looking for, because eventually all homes start to blend together and it becomes really difficult to understand what's what, because you're just going to start seeing homes like crazy. And so hopefully this provides some clarity. Let me know if you have any questions.